Guys, what happened to gaming? Like, how far have we sunk at this point? I don't even know where to begin with talking about Marvel Snap, the monetization issues, and the progression, and just the terrible setup that we have, the way that this is sort of damaging the game. Now, I know a lot of creators have already talked about this. I did want to throw my hat into the ring and also just make it known how I feel about all of this stuff, because I guess in some way not saying anything can be seen as some kind of endorsement or condoning of, you know, behavior. So with that being said, there's a new bundle in the shop. This is what's got everyone riled up in particular, because it is a terrible value bundle. You get 1,000 credits, a Dark Hawk variant, which, you know, can be used as a substitute for the card if you don't already have it, some boosters, whatever, $30 or, you know, local currency equivalent, and this lovely 3 times value banner on the side. I mean, if you calculate how much this is actually worth, even just by, you know, looking at the gold cost, right? How much is this equivalent to? Well, you could get like a pretty good chunk of gold, something like, I don't know, 1,800, 1,900, my maths isn't perfect. Maybe even 2,000 gold. How many credits could we just get for that immediately? Well, a lot is the answer. We could spend that for at least, you know, 2,500 credits, something along those lines, if I'm doing my maths correctly. But yeah, it's very obviously a terrible, terrible deal. So that's the first issue. 3 times value, I mean, what are they talking about? I've heard people make the joke that, you know, it's 3 times value for their company because you're spending $30 on this complete nonsense. Okay, so let's talk about really why this is an issue. It's not just that it's crap value, obviously you don't have to buy it. It's not just that the 3 times value banner they've got is false advertising and just complete, you know, very obvious manipulative tactic to try to get you to spend money on something that's not actually worth what it's worth. They've done this in the past, by the way, already, with the beginner bundle. I believe it said like 8 times value or something crazy. But yeah, they've done this before. There wasn't so much outrage for it because I suppose, I don't know, people were just in love with the gameplay and just, you know, the early progression, the early game in general, that, you know, people were willing to turn a blind eye to what was very obviously some evil practices going on. I think you know, whoever's making these kind of decisions is very deliberate and it's very obviously greedy and, yeah, just outrageous, honestly, pretty outrageous. So yeah, this isn't something particularly new. I remember Diablo Immortal got so much backlash. Now, it was perhaps a little different to Marvel Snap. You know, the end game content was very, very, you know, whaley, and, you know, you had to spend money in order to gain advantages and stuff like that. But there were also similar predatory practices going on with Marvel Snap compared to Diablo Immortal. Stuff like these, you know, disingenuous banners, you know, a great example of that. But why is this a real problem? Well, obviously Dark Hawk is a Series 4 card and has not been dropped to Series 3. That means the card is a lot harder to acquire. It means you can't just, you know, randomly get it in your caches. Well, you're not as likely to as you are with Series 3 cards. So that means people are incentivized to maybe spend money to get the card. You know, it's a pretty strong card. There's a lot of decks that play Dark Hawk. A lot of people may want to be trying that card in some way. You know, there are even Series 3 cards like Rock Slide, which only really work when you play a Dark Hawk deck. So it feels kind of bad to unlock a card that you can't actually use until you get another card, and that card is harder to acquire. Dark Hawk was supposed to drop to Series 3 a long time ago, but second dinner, you know, they decided, we should just change how the cards dropping system works, just to try to really maximize our profits, to really try to get as much juice out of these like little stupid consumers as possible. Let's really try to take all of the money, not just some of the money. We need all of it. We're a free-to-play game, but let's really try to milk our player base as much as we can. So I think that's their thinking, and I think it's something they should be pretty ashamed of. Obviously, they aren't. You know, this bundle's still in the shop despite the backlash. People will still buy this. I saw a post of somebody saying they'd voiced their opinion on how this was not a good thing for them to include in the game, but because they were buying all the variants, they still bought this bundle. So they were saying it's a terrible value bundle, and they Second Dinner should be bad, but should feel bad for it and should do things differently. But then they bought the bundle anyway. I mean, if people are buying this, they're going to keep doing it, and clearly they've figured out, okay, there's a portion of the player base that are just going to spend money on anything. They're going to whale out on everything. They're going to buy all the variants, and so it allows them to justify stuff like this. And I presume there's also a portion of the player base that do not have access to certain cards and are willing to spend the money to get the cards. The Dark Hawk bundle, there's been things like the Serra bundle in the past. They target these pretty useful, powerful cards, maybe Spider-Man bundle, and you can get access to the card if you spend money. It's just bad stuff, guys. I think the real issue I have with all of this stuff is the game just constantly asks for money in different ways. It would be okay, I think, if you just spend money on the Battle Pass, for example, right? You just spend your money every month, your $10, $15, whatever it is, and you're done. You have access to the Battle Pass card, you have enough resources to get all the cards that you want, to get the collection that you desire, if you pay that sort of monthly subscription. If that were the case, then sure, I think that's a reasonable thing to charge, some kind of a subscription fee to play the game and to access the content. But it's not like that. You buy the Battle Pass, you get one card, you get a decent amount of resources, it's good value, but you're still never going to be able to have all of the cards. You're never going to be able to unlock the new things as they come out. The Power Crept cards, the Jeff, the Iron Lad. I still don't have those. I get 2,000 gold for free each month for being part of bloody their creator program. That's a benefit that I get, and I still don't have even a full collection. I'm not even close to getting there. There are gonna be cards that I don't have. There are even gonna be really powerful cards that I don't have, unless I'm willing to spend even more money on the game. So I think the game it's just so wonky. You're being asked for money left and right, and you can never actually get all the stuff that you want. It feels really obnoxious and abusive. And you've got this paywalling of powerful things. I think that's the worst part, honestly, is the Battle Pass. You either buy it or you're out of luck. You're playing against opponents that might have this new powerful synergistic card. Ghost Spider, maybe not the best, but Nebula's incredibly broken. Like Zabu in the past, incredibly broken. Silver Surfer was like a top tier deck for a while. I mean, it's just outrageous. You're basically strong-armed into spending money if you want to be in any way sort of competitive in this game, or not feel that frustration that you're going to feel when you're playing against people with these broken cards. So I think that's the issue. You're charging money for that stuff. You're strong-arming the player to spend money, but then they spend money and they still don't have everything they would want. They're still getting kind of messed over. It's still like they're playing a free-to-play game, and they haven't actually unlocked all the content that you would normally unlock by spending money on a game. Like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here, that people are okay with the systems in this game. And honestly, guys, I must say, I actually stopped playing Marvel Snap. I played a lot of Marvel Snap in the beta, and at some point I stopped because I just saw how bloody evil this game is. And I even made a video on this whole topic as well, before actually I began pumping out, Marvel Snap videos. And now it's a bit of a predicament for me, because I make my living from making, card game videos. So obviously making a living from Marvel Snap is good for me. I want to be able to do that. I enjoy the game. I enjoy playing. But I am sort of compromising on my principles just simply by playing this game. I mean, it's just so evil, some of these monetization aspects and the way the progression system works. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not something I would willingly engage in if it weren't for making a living from it. So I think that's worth being said, and it's quite a sad state of affairs, and I wish this company could see that they have actually a good game and a good product, and not feel the need to just monetize it and abuse the player base to all out lengths, I think if they just looked at the core game and really tried to focus on that and improve the systems around it, you know, make the progression better, get the, you know, have expansions of cards that people can actually enjoy and engage with, instead of this random drip feeding where you never actually get to play the new cards unless you wail out on the game. And you see other people playing them, maybe even not. There are a bunch of things that people can't experiment with because it's too expensive to get these kind of mediocre cards that you don't want to invest tokens in. It's just all a big mess. They've gone the route of like evil monetization instead of focusing on the game being good. And I think in the long run, this will bite them in the ass in a big way. You know, they're going to make the short-term profits. They're going to milk the player base. And maybe that's their goal, you know? Maybe it's just take as much money as possible out of this system. They've designed a very clever, you know, just way to just generate cash. Money. But I think as you continue to milk the player base in this way and do some really deceptive and unfair things like, you know, not dropping cards in series that are actually strong. They realize, oh, this card's quite strong. People actually want to purchase this. Let me just keep that at a very high cost. You know, they're basically charging you different amounts for different power level of card, which I've played a lot of card games in my time. Literally no other card game does that. The closest thing is, of course, you know, different rarities of cards, having different rarities and different sort of drop rates, but there's no game which says this card is inherently worth more. We've decided it is just gonna cost you X amount more money, X amount more currency to acquire this. There's no game that I've come across that does that. So I think that's just a step too far. It doesn't work for CCG, and in the long term, you're gonna burn your player base. People, I think I've seen it myself in the stats. You can see the Steam charts, you know, the player base is slowly declining as people, you know, start to just leave the system, you know, like a bloody battered wife leaving their abusive relationship, you know, like after a certain point, people go, enough's enough. I think my life will be better if I just put this on hold for now. I don't, you know, think about Marvel Snap too seriously. I'll just play other games, I'll get this out of my mind, I won't have to deal with the stress and the FOMO of missing this card, or, you know, should I buy the Battle Pass and be at a disadvantage for several months? Like, no, we can just disconnect from the game, stop playing, and problem solved. So I think you're going to see the player base has very much, it's probably quite easy to retain them because we have this real sunk cost feeling in Snap at this point. If you've been playing for a long time, you've put a lot of hours, maybe a lot of money into Snap, it's going to be very hard to dissuade those people from ever leaving the game, even if you just continue to bash them in the face. Buy my Dark Hawk bundle, $30. You want to get you want this Hobgoblin skin? Another 30. Bah. You know, if you're a whale and you want all these variants, your money is being extracted at the most efficient rate possible. Like, I don't know how you can put up with that. I would not be buying anything. I would not be spending any money on this game if it weren't for the content creation side of things. And as I've said, I might not even support the game. I might not play it in general if it were not for the content creation, just because of this predatory and, quite frankly, just... I think it's evil. I think it's just not the right way to conduct a business. And I know maybe that's a controversial or bizarre thing to say because the whole point is to make money, but I think you can make money without doing things that are manipulative and predatory, and I think you can make money while, you know, making your player base happy. I think you can have a good game, and I think that you can succeed very much with a good game and a good product without monetizing it to bloody hell and back. You know, I think that was a thing in the past. Gaming has often not relied on this. This isn't microtransactions, man. This is macro transactions. This is crazy stuff. Like $30? That's the price of a fucking... Like, I can buy an indie game that is in many ways, you know, a lot more care and thought has been put into than a game like Marvel Snap for less than that price. Like, it's just crazy. So yeah, I think this... I mean, that's my rant, guys. I've done my rant. You guys know how it is. Marvel Snap, evil game. I've been saying it from the beginning. It's an evil game. The gameplay's good. It's pretty fun. It's fun gameplay. I gave it an A on my tier list of card game mechanically speaking. I actually really like Snap, and a lot of haters say Marvel Snap, not very deep, complex game. Kind of true, but I think there is some complexity with the Snap mechanic. It adds a lot. The retreat mechanic. It takes away the frustration of the game a lot, and allows you to have variance, you know, RNG without the frustration of it. But anyway, This isn't that video. If you want the card game tier list, you can check that out. But yeah, that's my rant. This is terrible. They're very unapologetic. I mean, they're doing that typical, you know, South Park, you know, company apology of like,
we're sorry. We're sorry.
you know, we're sorry. We're so sorry that we, you know, we did the 3 times value. We're sorry about that. Like, obviously, they're going to keep doing stuff like this. That's just part of their wheelhouse. They've always tried to push the limits with the Nexus events. They got a ton of backlash for that, with all sorts of controversies with the way that tokens work and all of these systems, the dropping of cards. They're just pretty bad, you know? They're pretty bad guys. They're trying to push the limits of the consumer. They're trying to take as much money from you as possible. They're trying to, you know, they're basically not like, who cares about the game, right? They don't care about the game. The game is just a way for them to extract money from people. That's how they view it. I mean, I don't know that everyone on the team views it that way. I'm sure there are developers that are very committed to making the game as fun and enjoyable as possible, but, you know, at the highest level, the people that actually are making the decisions that impact the experience of the player, those people, I don't think care about the game in the slightest. They just care about the best way to achieve maximum money in their pockets and to, you know, to cash out. Big cash grab. So that's what I think. I don't really know what the takeaway is. It's a bit of a negative video. Fuck this stuff, man. Like, gaming used to be so chill. Like, you have some tiny DLC and it would have so much backlash. You'd have fucking loot boxes in Overwatch was the biggest controversy ever, and now this stuff's so normalized. It's disgusting. It's actually disgusting, dude. Get rid of it. I don't mind paying, like, whatever. I don't mind paying some money on the game. I don't mind spending a bit of money. I don't even mind paying a subscription fee. But why do I have to pay a subscription? And then I'm still playing a fucking free-to-play game where I don't even have access to the stuff I'd like to have access to. It's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. If you guys agree, let me know in the comments. If you have a different opinion, you can also feel free to let me know. I hope I didn't piss off too many people with this video. I've bitten the hand that feeds me a little bit, which is generally not a good thing to do. At some point, you have to just say it how it is, right? And yeah, I'm not okay with that. It's not. This ain't cool, man. Just don't do that. Don't do stuff like this. Anyway, okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.